Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Childcare Business Success Show. I'm Julie Bartkus, and I am so excited to be here this evening. And of course, we've got prizes to give away, but we have an incredible topic that we're talking about tonight, which is one of my passions. It's all about staff motivation, cultivating the workplace culture that really helps you attract your dreamy clients to you. And also, I want to tie in how enrollment building is really a foundational piece, or how it is really codependent upon your efforts to have a positive workplace culture. So often we think about those things as two separate entities, but I want to show you this evening how they tie in. And joining me in just a little bit is a special guest. His name is Tim Carter. He's an owner of a center in Utah. I hope I'm remembering correctly. Did I get that right, Tim? But he'll be on. He's a client of mine, and he has made some amazing things happen in his childcare program in terms of the staff he is now attracting and how he's now filling his enrollments also. So we're going to hear from Tim. But before we do that, I just want to say hello. And if you're here tuning in, please say hi and interact in the chat this evening. As you know, we are giving away some of the yummiest brownies on the planet. I'm just going to show our topic this evening so we could get some people on here with us. And it's all about staff motivation. And like I said, we've got a couple of different prizes going on that John is going to be in our chat helping me measure and see who the winner is. But one of our prizes is the yummiest brownies on the planet. And if you are the most engaged person this evening, you will be one of the winners or the winner of that prize. And if you've gotten brownies from us before, you know how great they are. Hey, Daphne, nice to see you here. Jonna, thanks for being here and in our chat. I'm going to lower this a little. All right. Who else? Hey, Mindy. Nice to see you here. All right. Brandon. Fantastic. Good to have you. You know, we were surveying our group members recently to say, what's your biggest challenge right now? Is it staff? Is it enrollments? Is it money? And staff still continues to be at the top. So if this is one of the challenges that you're facing, please write down, yes, Julie, it's still all about staff. And let me know if there's any specific questions that you have, and I'll try as we progress to read through the comments and get your questions answered on this evening's show. And we had some that came in, and John, if you can remind me of what those questions are, but we did have some that came in through our Childcare Business Success group, and I will be answering those along with my special guest, Tim Carter, this evening. Let's see. So hello, who else is here? I see more and more people tuning in with us. Mindy and Brandon, nice to have you. What are your questions about staff motivation? And like I said, you know, I've been doing this for 20 years, and I still find that one of these super problems in this industry is staff. And the thing that I get really excited about is that I know that your staff want the same thing that you want. They want to feel positive. They want to feel productive coming into the workplace, but they just don't know how to get there. Now, another prize. Hey, Jennifer, nice to have you. Yep, Brandon, all about staff. Good to have you here. All right. They show issues having lately, them showing up for the interview. Yeah, that's a challenge a lot of our owners face. But another prize that we're giving away this evening is our marketing video. And this is for the most engaged person who's been in our Childcare Business Success group. So if you've been the most engaged over the past week in our group, you are going to get or win the marketing video, where we put together a marketing video for you. And John is going to let me know before we wrap up today who that winner is. So, okay, she's got some questions coming in. And John, if I missed something, if you can make sure it gets reiterated in the comments or bring that to my attention so that we could get some questions answered this evening. But I was just where was I? I was in North Carolina speaking just about a week ago, and I did a keynote, and it was all about who motivates the motivator. And it was teachers, it was directors, it was owners. And I just love, and I know my guest probably loves this too, but one of the things that I really love is seeing the lights go on in people. And it just really shows me that when you hold people to a standard of excellence or a standard of brilliance, you see something in them, they're going to rise up to that level. But when we look at our people and go, oh my goodness, I have no good people in place, and we don't give them that positive space to move into, it's really a demotivating work culture to be a part of. So number one, I want you to start seeing your role as coaching your team. That is your role, to really coach your team. It is to grow your staff. And whether they grow under your leadership or they can't grow under your leadership, that's a whole different story, but it is to grow them. So then you've got to make the call, will they grow underneath me or do I need to release them to grow? But if they're not growing, we're not doing anybody any good by keeping them on board. All right, so let's see what some of our comments are coming in. Mindy, something I've learned, under promise and over deliver. Absolutely. That sounds familiar. All right. And Jonna posted the link for everybody so you could join into the Childcare Business Success group if you're not there. And we've got some good questions coming in. Daphne says, yep, me too, Brandon. Brandon says, offered a position to start, no call, no show. All right. So why aren't people showing up for you? That's a good question. Issues having lately, them showing up for the interview. Jennifer says hello. And Brandon says all about staffing. Absolutely. Okay. And as you have questions this evening, please make sure that you put your questions in the comments. And if I don't get to them during this show, I will make sure that we come back and answer your questions later or in our group page. Hey, Loretta, you want to come on up and say hello for a minute? Thumbs up. All right, I'm going to have Loretta, our Chief of Happiness, say hello to everyone. I'm going to say hi to Loretta. Hey, Loretta.
Hello, how are you?
We're doing good. How are you?
I am doing wonderfully. It's raining and chilly and fall and awesome.
Well, that's a good attitude, right? I was just out your area last week, actually. It's beautiful.
I know. I was so sad to have missed you. We had our big fall festival, and it was just one of those super busy weekends, and you were busy. You got to go to the caverns, and I'm so...
Did you go to the caverns?
I've not. We go up there close by every fall, but we always hurry back, and it is on my list. I want to go. They're absolutely stunning. All the pictures I've seen are incredible.
It is. Yeah, if you're ever in Luray, Virginia, hit the caverns. Absolutely gorgeous. So for those of you who don't know Loretta is our Chief of Happiness, and she is in our Childcare Business Success group, cheering everybody on and adding her bit of happiness to our group and some good positive support. So we're thrilled to have you.
I'm thrilled to be here.
And she's also the one who pushes the send button on those brownies. So she's a good one to get to know in our group. All right, Loretta. So are you going to be staying with us through the whole show?
I can stay till 8:30. But then
okay.
I gotta put 8:30 my time. Got to put my chickadoo to bed at some point.
Okay, so we'll have you back on to announce our prize winners because that's always a fun thing to do. I've missed you and missed not having you here to share who our prize winners are. So this evening we'll let you do it. We'll wrap up before 8:30, or at least announce our prizes before then.
Okay, sounds good.
Sound good? Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to put you back down into the lobby, and Loretta will be joining us later on to share with us who our prize winners are. And like I said, it's all about staff motivation this evening. And we're going to be doing a webinar on my 5 simple steps to help you manage, motivate, retain great staff. And if you want to make sure that you're in the know about that free webinar I'm going to be doing, make sure you leave us a comment and say, yes, I want in for that webinar. And Jonna will make note so that we make sure that you're included with that, because we're going to be doing a video webinar like this where I'm going to be going through my 5 simple steps to help you manage, motivate, retain great staff. So on that note, I'm going to welcome to our studio Mr. Tim Carter. And Tim, I'm going to move you on up just like we did with Loretta. Hello, Tim.
Hey, hi, Julie.
Ah, how are you?
Oh, honored to be here and fantastic. Doing really well.
It is fabulous to have your workplace culture. You started speaking yourself, inspiring other owners and directors to have motivated teams and to really rock their positive workplace culture. So why don't you go ahead and just start out by telling us a little bit about you. So what's the name of your childcare program and why do you do what you do?
Oh, good question.
Oh, yeah. You knew we were going there, right?
It always is. The name of my program is Discovery Tree Academy. We're licensed for 72 kids. I've been the owner since 2013. And there's several reasons, of course, why I do what I do. But one of the biggest things that over the last 3-4 years is this topic that has really been exciting for me and motivating. And so it's, a lot of the things that people complain about, I love. I don't love having that problem, that's for sure. But I like, it fascinates me, the reasons why. But the biggest reason that I do this is, my story, and I know we've cultivated this over the past couple months, has been, I was the kid growing up who got a lot of opportunities. That I don't come from the rags to riches story. I come more from the riches to riches story, I guess. And I want to be able to give that same experiences that I had to kids who may not have that opportunity. And I know the best way to do that is through the programs that we run, and really by having the staff who share in that same passion and vision. And so I guess that's the couple answers to your question, but I love it. And one of the reasons I speak is because I see all of these problems that others have, and I have had to, that there are solutions for it. And so I want to be a part of that solution.
Absolutely. And that's great. And I think the more people that talk about staff motivation, the better the industry is going to be, because, a lot of people feel like there's not enough staff. And I really feel that there's enough staff. You've just got to be that bright light who attracts the right staff to you. So tell us, Tim, you became a client, just about, I don't know, several months ago, but you've been following for years. What was it that was inside of your mind that said, okay, here's the missing piece, and here's what I need to tweak a little bit more, so I really want to start working with Julie?
The biggest thing for me, and that I've always loved about you, Julie, is it's more about mindset. It's more about that attraction, and it's not necessarily here are steps 1 through 10 to get where you want. Even though that is the case, it is, let's take a look at the whole big picture as well as the why, and then that law of attraction kind of side of it, which is something that I've always had an affinity for, that you share so well and so simplistically that even someone like myself can understand. It motivates me, and it's more than just do these processes. Does that make sense? It's not just a simple do steps 1 through 5, even though there is that. It's the bigger why, and I'm always attracted to the why, and always been fascinated by why. In fact, if I don't understand the why, it's very likely I will do something. So for me, the big switch was back in Vegas, in listening to that conference. Fantastic content and such a wonderful opportunity. But I knew at that point that you shared similar goals as I did. You were kind of there, so to speak, and that's where I wanted to be. And so I figured, why not, ride your coattails?
Awesome. And since you've gotten some transformational results. So let's start with some of the results that you've recently experienced. And then we're going to talk and dig deep into strategy and mindset shifts. And I really believe, and I share the formula with my audiences all the time, that if you take a deep personal transformation, combine the right strategy with that, you're going to get transformational results. But if you are just searching for strategy and strategy and strategy and more strategy, it's going to leave you needing more strategy. So you're always going to be looking for that next best thing that you need to do, or you need to say, or whatever it is that you need to incorporate, without experiencing transformation. And this is why I think the clients who I work with are kind of like the chosen ones, because you really want to get the mindset piece right, and you want to do the deep work, where everybody's not willing to do that. And do we always have to go as deep as we do with some people versus others? Not always, because some people are really on a progressive path of their own already. But I find, and I love going deep, even in my own life. Yeah. I love it. When I work with coaches and mentors, that's what I'm looking to do, because I love those aha moments where I can really see things through their eyes that I can't see for myself. And if you have a good coach or a good mentor, that's what they're going to help you do, is really take a look at the picture, because if you're in the picture, you can't step back and see the picture. You're too closely in it. So you need somebody who could be that other pair of eyes for you to step back and really say, all right, here are the shifts that would really be transformational for you.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and that you summed up really well. The analogy I would give is, a lot of other places that I go to, they treat the symptom, not the problem, if that makes sense. And that's what I feel you definitely do, is you get to the root of it, and it's in a very judgment-free zone. You know, I don't
Yes.
feel judged, or I don't feel embarrassed when I share, or I express anger or tears or whatever the case is. It's more of let's move together. Let's move through this together versus just, I don't know. There's no condescension. It's just a judgment-free, cohesive opportunity, which I love.
Absolutely. And that should be the truth with any coach or mentor that you work with, is make sure that it's truly judgment free so that you can be yourself, so that you can grow in the process. So I think that's really important. All right. So let's dive into some strategies. And throughout these strategies, I also want to hear some of the results that you get with some of the strategies. But one of the things that always comes up, and Tim, I know you could help me talk through some of these things because you've gotten some good results, is tying your vision in with your ads that you write. And when you came to our conference in Vegas, you actually had a pretty good ad in place. And I looked at your ad, I'm like, wow, this is pretty good. But you took the exercise that we went through seriously and you rewrote your ad. And to me, it's all about the energy behind the intent that drives the result that you experience. So when you shift the energy behind your intent, meaning you just get really excited for those amazing people who are going to show up, you're going to write something that's going to start attracting those people to you. So Tim had a great ad, went through the energy exercise, shifted the ad a little bit, and then got a different result. So tell us about the new ad that you wrote and what that process was like for you, and maybe some of what you incorporated. Oops, and I think maybe Tim froze. Whoops, and we just lost Tim. Oh, that was a good question too. So Tim will be back with us in a moment, I'm sure. So hopefully Tim's going to be refreshing his browser and then he'll be back on with us. But a lot of what we do, in looking at staff motivation, is everything has to be an on-flowing or an offsetting from your vision. And if everything's not flowing from your vision, typically you're not going to get the right results. And I've gotten calls over the years that says, Julie, what do I need to do? My staff are unmotivated. This is happening and this is happening. And it's always looking at the root fundamental piece, which is your vision. And then how does everything line up with that? And Tim, you still look a little frozen to me. I see you back down in the studio, but you are not moving. So, and I see Loretta, lots of movement there. So if you want to refresh again, and then we'll see if we can get you back up here. Okay, so Tim's going to refresh for us. And if you've got questions, let us know. And I know one of the questions that came in from somebody was about their help wanted ad and how do we write an ad that will attract. So Tim, are you moving yet? I keep seeing you in there, but I don't see you moving. All right. So let me go back here. I'm going to read through. I know Jonna had written a couple questions here. And when Tim comes back to us, we will talk about ads. Okay, this was a question I think we'll show here. So this came in from one of our group members at Childcare Business Success. And like I said, when Tim comes back on, we will pick up the conversation about ads. Tim, you're still frozen from what I see. So if you want to try to reboot again, and I'll let you know when I see some movement in your screen. So this is one question, and Jonna retyped this. She says, I'm having some turnover. How do I use my story to connect with the right staff? And is there a magic question to ask during interviews? I recently lost some long-term staff, and I want to replace them with long-term staff. So these are some fantastic questions. So let's tackle the first one. How do I use my story to connect with the right staff? Well, here's the thing. Share your story. When you start sharing your story and you start putting it out there, you're going to start attracting the right people to you. But a lot of people don't even share their story. They kind of sit on it and they judge their story and they don't think their story is good enough or powerful enough. But the way you find out who you're going to connect with and how to make your story more powerful is by sharing it and by sharing it often. And the biggest keys with your story is to make sure that there are emotional connection points, meaning how many different things on an emotional level can parents and staff connect to. So that's one of the answers there, is just to start telling it. So when we coach our clients through the storytelling process, basically we start off with what I say, messy, just do some messy writing. Just get it out there. What is your story? Write it down and think about the answer to the following question. Am I emotionally connected to this story? Meaning, when you reread your story, does it bring happiness? Does it bring tears? Does it bring inspiration to you? Because if you're not emotionally connected to your story, it's going to be really hard or next to impossible for anybody else to get connected with it. So you've got to make sure, number one, when you're sharing your story, you are connected with it. And I have men and women clients who will say to me, Julie, I just can't get back in touch with that emotional side of my story. I'm just not an emotional person. And it's really important that you make yourself get connected with the emotional side of your story, because if you don't and you can't connect, nobody else will. Does that make sense? So that's how you use your story. Now, is there a magic question to ask during interviews? I actually believe there is. And I know I've shared this with you before. And I really believe that all the questions that we ask during the interview process need to be personalized. So don't go looking in all the books and say, well, what's the best questions? What's the best questions? I want you to think about a couple of things when it comes to your interview questions. Number one is, do my questions help me target the kind of people who've hired in the past that have been mistakes? So if you look at your hiring mistakes in the past, that is a good starting point for the interview questions that you want to ask going forward. So take a look at maybe where you didn't make a really good hire, or where somebody turned out not to be who you thought they were in the interview. And then think about an interview question that you can ask that's in alignment with that. Does that make sense? Let me know if that does. Say, yep, Julie, makes sense. Okay, and then one of the questions I do want to share with you that's really important, and I think everybody should be asking this question, is how does or what skills or qualities do you possess that will help us grow our vision? What skills or qualities do you possess that will contribute to our vision coming to life? So I really believe that one foundational question that should be in there in the interview process should be about the vision. And what skills, what qualities do you possess that will help bring that vision to life? Sound good? Let me see, is there anything else? All right, woo, I see movement with Tim. All right. So I think that answers those questions, and we'll see if we can get some more on here later. But if you like some of those answers, going to implement them, give me an oh yeah, Julie. Or if there's further questions that you have, please ask those as well. All right, let's get Tim back up here. We'll see if he remembers the question I asked. All right, so Tim's going to come back on. Hey, Tim.
Hi, sorry, had to change locations.
That's okay. I'm just thrilled that you're back. So, before we lost you, before you went to, you kind of became a mannequin. You just became frozen. But before we lost you, I was talking about help wanted ads. And I know that's one shift that you made. Could you share with us a little bit about the shift that you made with your ad and the result that you got? So what was that experience like for you, even though you had a really great ad to start with?
Yeah, so the big shift that I made was, like you said, like in the activity was kind of envision our perfect staff member and then write the ad for that perfect staff member. And so taking that time to really focus on like who I wanted in my program, seeing that person in my program, seeing those attributes and qualities that they had, changed the enthusiasm that I had for it. And it really made it as if it wasn't like I was hoping someone would apply. It was, here is the ad. You just need to read this and apply, and it changed it from guessing and hoping to just, here's this ad. Now we know that person's going to come. So the confidence and the reassurance that they were going to come was there. I felt like it spoke better to the person that we wanted in writing those ads. And so that's where the shift for me came. And then it also kind of opened my eyes to different avenues of being able to share that same message for the person, not just simply through, a Craigslist ad or something like that, but a Facebook ad. And so we actually took that same ad and I recorded it. And I made a little video, and we used that through Instagram and Facebook marketing. And it was funny, I made a little video, and within about an hour and a half, I had 2 applicants in my inbox already. Like, it was both of them were great. And in fact, since March and us making that change, the last 4 hires that I have had literally walked in off the street saying that they wanted to work for me and my program.
Oh my gosh.
It was crazy. They didn't do anything, and I didn't have to do anything. And the last 2 specifically came in and said, there's only you and one other program in the area that we want to work for, and the other one didn't give us an interview. And so I instantly gave an interview, instantly hired them, and they have been one of the best cheerleaders for me, some fantastic team members. And they have been very outspoken on how different the program is by the attitude and the culture that the community has, in our little community. So that was the big shift for us, is we got a lot of applicants, but not that kind of attraction towards the applicants.
Now, this is amazing what you're saying, and I want everybody to hear this, is that people are literally walking in off the street, and you're not the only one. Mary, one of our clients, another childcare program of excellence mentorship members, had the same thing. She had somebody go across the street to get pizza, didn't even know Mary was hiring, and saw the childcare sign, was like, oh, this is the place I want to work at. They just kind of had this gut feeling, went in and talked to her, and they were a fantastic employee for, I think, several years.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and the synergy that it creates within our program has been undescribable, and something that is that is so motivating for everybody else that it's been great. And the funny thing is, and we may get to this later though, is that 2 of the 4 left jobs making $16 to $19 an hour to work for me for 9 or 10. So,
and did you ask them, did you go, why are you leaving your position for this much money to come and work for me?
Yes. And all of them have said the culture and the environment, and it's just, this is a better place to work. One of them was working for a corporate national food chain. And they just, like, there it's, everybody stabs each other in the back. Managers are rude, or, whatever. And I mean, there's a lot of negative that they say about it. And here it's a community that they're excited about, and they love doing it. And so it's not about the money for them. It's about a much better work environment.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's like almost what, a 30%, if not more, reduction in pay that they're taking to come and work for you. Yes. Yeah. So, so this is where I really say that it's not about money. When we look at staff motivation, a lot of times we think in terms of money, we think in terms of incentives, but it's about your culture. People want to be a part of something big. And can we help them feel that way when they come into your culture? So let's talk about your culture, Tim. What do people feel when they pass by your building or when they walk in through your doors that lets them know that you've got this amazing culture that you are totally rocking?
The best way to describe it is actually last week, I gave a tour to a family who was unhappy with the local center that they're currently going to. And within 3 minutes of walking in, the family had said just some very complimentary things. But the mom looks at me and just stops, and she was like, I don't know what about your place, or what it is about your place. It just feels like home. And so the rest of the tour was honestly just like going through the motions, because we all knew that it was going to happen, and they started this week today. So I don't know how to tangibly describe it other than they can tell that we're all working towards something. And honestly, I would say the biggest reason that we're getting these reviews from our families and our staff is that they feel that we are all driven towards a singular purpose. Even though we all may have different agendas or different ways of doing it, we're all driven towards a very singular goal, and that has been what's created that unity throughout our program.
Awesome. And one of the words that you said, Tim, is a word that I preach often, and it's really important to point out. And that word is feel. Yeah. And you had this new tour come through and say, I don't know what it is, but I just felt like this was home. I felt like this is where I'm supposed to be. And when we can get people feeling a certain way, that's when we're going to help them make that buying decision, whether they're buying into a job with us or they're buying into an enrollment. It's all about how do they feel, because we could shove a lot of facts, figures, numbers, things down people's throat, the huge list of 100 things that we offer that our competitors don't. But do we make our people feel the way that they're not going to feel any place else? And I really believe that has to come from a very authentic and genuine place. So much so that people like Tim, my owners I work with, say, well, I can't pinpoint what it is. Yeah. And sometimes it even seems a little magical that it's working so well to build your enrollment and to have the most motivated people in place because of the culture that you've cultivated. So really get in touch with that word feel, and how can you plan that so that people will buy from you? Remember, buying is all about feelings. They will justify with logic, but it comes back to how they feel.
Right.
And we're seeing that with your staff who you're attracting and hiring, as well as your people who you're touring.
Right. And the funny thing is there's I will see things with my staff that I'm like, oh, great, here we go. And they surprise me every time with doing the exact opposite. A couple of weeks ago, I had a teacher just not show up for her shift, and we were really concerned. Oh, great, she's on her way out. She calls, and it was a scary situation, but everything was okay. And she was like, I know I needed to, like, the first call was to you guys. Don't get mad. I'm so sorry. She was in a car accident, and like I said, everyone was okay, but they've surprised me every time when I'm thinking like, oh, great, here we go. This problem's happening. The exact opposite has come up, and it has allowed me the freedom to really grow in my program.
That's amazing to hear. So when you think about the word feel, have you ever surveyed your staff or your parents, your current clients, to ask them, well, why is it that you feel this way?
I did a survey back in September in our in-service training day, and most of the responses were very expected because they say that a lot, but some of the responses were surprising in a very good way when, I'd ask things like, do you feel like we're working together, and some of them were on a scale of 1 to 10, some of them were kind of more, write out your answer. But the majority of them said that the biggest reason that they feel like why they're so happy to come to work is they feel like they could come to me all the way down to someone that I hired today, and that they would get, help and unity, and they would be willing to jump in. And so there's a lot of that happens, which is really nice, because in the past I've had, someone who's really excited to come work with their kids, but anything else, it's, big no. And I could ask them to stay an hour late if needed to clean bathrooms, and they would, all the way to go home an extra hour early because, kids are low. So kind of a deviation from your question, but yeah, we do a little bit of survey. I haven't surveyed my families yet to see, but I do get a lot of reviews where they just will walk in, and they'll say something of, it just feels so different in here. We're so, everybody's so happy, and we love that. So, but no, I haven't done any actual surveys of my families.
Yeah, and I encourage all of our viewers out there to make sure that you use the word feel. Even put that word in your marketing materials and survey your staff and your parents and ask them, how does it feel working here? How does it feel being enrolled here? And use the feel word and see what you come up with in terms of responses. And then you can incorporate those things into your marketing. So let's talk about the correlation, Tim, between enrollment building and staff motivation. And so many times people see those as two separate components, and I really see them so conjoined, that they are so connected, and that if you're doing things right with your staff, you're also going to be starting to get transformational results with your enrollments. And I know you've experienced, your enrollments being full. And let's talk about some of the shifts that you've made, or what do you attribute some of those things to?
Just like attracting good staff, what we did, and back in March, a lot of the things we did in the conference was really identifying who we are, what we wanted. And so when we came back, I kind of wrote out the people that I wanted in my organization, and that was staff, that was also parents and children. And so then we took that image of our perfect people all around and started to rewrite policies, reinforce policies, and do a lot of things that were all focused on those specific, perfect person, if you will. And the funny thing is, I mean, I haven't had to do marketing for quite a while, very proactively, but I now am getting to the point where people again are just walking in like, I have heard about you, both enrollments as well as staff, of course. So the correlation, I think, is people, everybody wants to be a part of something bigger, and they want to feel like there's actual focus and they're going somewhere, if you will. And so we've attracted those families as well who want to get on that. And the example that I used in a class was, if I went to the bus stop and it didn't say where it was going on the front of the bus, and I just got on, it didn't matter where it was going, but eventually I would get really tired of being on the bus. Or I could go to the bus stop and it's saying it's going to this pace, it'll be at this time, I know exactly where it's going and I know how to get there, and people want to be on that bus. So my job is to make sure I have the right people on the right bus and the right people on the right seat on the right bus.
Was that a hard point for you, or a hard thing to come to? Like, I'm not going to be able to serve everybody, and everybody is not my dreamy staff member, and everybody is not my dreamy client. So when you get to the place where you can actually accept people or deny people on a waiting list, there's going to be times where you're going to be rejecting people and firing certain clients. Were there any hard shifts that you had to make in terms of letting people, either staff or clients, go?
Yeah, absolutely. The very last staff member that we let go was simply that. I did a big staff meeting where I sat down and kind of reshared my goals, my visions for the program, and how the staff fit into that. And we had one who was, she was really good with the kiddos and did a really good job with that, just as a team player, didn't want to be. And so she was the first one I have ever let go solely on our values weren't being lived through her. And so we made the choice to let her go. And it was tough because she'd been with me for 3 years. She was fantastic with the kiddos. The parents really liked her. The problem was as it was our team and then this one teacher. And so we let that person go, and it was sad all around, and we did it very respectfully, but because the values weren't being lived and shared, we had to let it go. And so it's actually worked out very well. But it was difficult. It was difficult to make a decision because I had no real massive thing or big giant reason to let it go other than our values didn't align.
And values are really important. And a lot of times in our childcare programs, we don't have values. Your values drive behaviors. So when I'm interviewing somebody, I would ask them, what are your values? And then get firmly grounded, at least a starting point, because you could always refine this stuff as you go. But you need to have a starting point with what are our values. And that's the only way that you're going to be able to determine, like, are we going to be able to be in alignment in terms of what we're looking for and what this person brings to the table is values. Values drive the behaviors. So that's good. So what would you recommend, Tim, or what would you tell people out there who are really struggling with letting people go? I know what I would tell them, but what would you tell them? And then maybe I'll add my 2 cents in.
Sure. I would say to do it. And this was hard for me, and I bounced it around for about a week and a half. And but the second that I made that decision and we actually had the conversation and allowed this person the opportunity to find something more suited for her, it actually it lifted a lot of weight off of my shoulders. It re-energized the staff, and it wasn't that any of them had any animosity towards this teacher. It was just obvious that she wasn't as driven as some of the others. So I would say that it's to not be scared, I guess, and to go ahead and let that person go. And And I don't remember who I heard this from, but I do remember reading in a book once that it said, take a look at your staff and look at them as if knowing what you know about them now and they were interviewing, would you hire them? And if the answer is no, then they need to go. And so that's what kind of led me to that point. And that was the ultimate deciding factor, is knowing her and the motivation she had at that time. The answer would have been no. So, we made it very respectful, like I said, but it was good to let her go.
Yeah, and that's fantastic, because it does re-energize your staff. Because if your staff feels that you're going to hire anybody or you're going to keep anybody, then they're going to feel like, well, what's the point of me striving to be top notch? What's the point of me striving to accomplish more in my workplace? So it really sends a clear message to staff that you're expecting more. So that's very profound. And Tim may be frozen again, or else it's just my screen showing him as frozen. Loretta, does Tim look frozen to you? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She's saying you are frozen too. So Tim will come back on. Tim will need you to reboot and come back, but this is really good stuff. So I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate any questions or comments that we have. Hey, Jim, thanks for tuning in. Brandon. Okay. Let's see some of the comments that we have coming in. Oh, there's Tim back. All right. So Brandon says, re-energize staff, been there before. Very true. So what I wanted to share with you is just my take on this. So what I always tell my clients is to make sure that you've got more loyalty towards the vision than you do to your people. And the vision has to come first, and then the people are second underneath that. So you've got to make sure that your vision is the driving force. Then also with values, as Tim and I were talking about, values drive the behaviors. Values are the biggest determinant of long-lasting relationships, whether it's a love relationship, whether it's a work relationship, it is the longest determinant. So it's really important that you have clearly defined values and that you're making sure that those are in alignment with the people who you're hiring. All right, we're still waiting for you, Tim. He's trying to log back into the studio, but he keeps coming up frozen. All right, if you've got comments, remember you are getting some of the yummiest brownies on the planet this evening for engagement. So make sure that you post your comments, your questions below, and we'll make sure that we get to those. If not, on this show, we'll address those in our group. So here's Mindy. Mindy, nice to see you here. Mindy's one of our actively engaged group members. She says, I love that. Loyalty to the vision first. Loyalty to the vision, and then also look at your values. And a lot of times childcare owners and directors will ask me, they'll say, Julie, how do we know if somebody's a good fit for our organization? They're so good with the parents. They're so good with the kiddos, but as a team member or as a team player, they're missing. And I really encourage you to think about maybe a pie. Thanksgiving's coming up. So think about a pie and think about all of the ingredients that go into making that pie spectacular. But imagine if one of the ingredients was missing. How great would that pie be? So yesterday I had my family over and they gobbled up 2 of the yummiest apple pies in the world, I think. But what if that apple pie was missing the apple? Or it was missing the crust, or missing the sugar or the cinnamon? It would not be as phenomenal of a pie. So you've got to really be identifying all the ingredients that go into your ideal dreamy staff, as well as the ingredients that go into your ideal dreamy parents, to know, are these the people who I really want to be on board and who can help me fulfill my vision? But if we're hiring out of desperation or enrolling people because we're desperate and need the money, we're not going to have the right picture in place. So like Tim was saying, get really clear on who your people look like. What are their characteristics? What are their behaviors? What are their qualities? And why do you want those people on board? And once you can clearly define those, then you really start activating the law of attraction, which will start putting those people in your path. And more so, you could take it a whole step further and start thinking about, all right, how do I feel like these people are already here? How do I feel like they're already here? So that's really important. All right, let me just show this back up here. All right, Tim, I still see you unfrozen. We want to get you back on here so that we could get some good interaction going, or some more quality information from you. And Loretta will probably have you back up in about 5 minutes. So if you can find out who our prize winner is going to be for this evening, and she's already there, as well as our group engagement for the Childcare Business Success Group. And we'll give Tim just another moment to see if we can get him back on here. Otherwise, Loretta, it sounds like you already got the prize winners picked out for us. We'll see. And the cool thing is you could win multiple times. So you don't just have the opportunity to win once. And some of you have won brownies from us over and over and over and over again. If you won brownies, give us an oh yeah in the comments and let us know. You might just be the winner for this evening as well. So while we're at a good breaking point, we're still waiting for Tim, who's still frozen in our studio. Let me have Loretta, since she already knows our winners, we're going to have her back into the studio, and we'll find out who our winners are. All right. Hey, Loretta.
Hello, how are you?
Good. We're getting some good information out there tonight, huh?
Yes, we are. And Tim is the real deal. He is awesome. And anyone who chooses to work with him, they are making a really wise decision.
Absolutely. I agree. And I'm very honored that he's on this journey in our excellence mentorship program. And I think we attract some really great clients in there. So I'm always thrilled and amazed too, because Tim's story is, not unlike Mary's, who says she now has people walking in off the street, or people who this is the really cool thing too, is that we often think it's money, but Tim's attracting people who are taking, almost a 50% reduction in pay to be a part of his vision. Mary's doing the same thing, where somebody's got the opportunity to make $3 an hour more down the road, but they want to work for her because her vision is so alive and it's so expanding. And I know you've heard story after story at some of our events, Loretta, about people who are making these transformations and shifts happen.
Absolutely. And it is incredible to be able to watch that happen. When they come and they're saying, yep, I'm going to attend this conference, it'll be great. And then they start to hear and start to connect with and make those shifts in their mind right there in the moment. And I mean, they transform themselves before they ever go home. And that transformation just continues. It's really, really awesome to watch.
And the cool thing is too, is that it doesn't take a lot of time sometimes. People get it when they come into our campus. They get it on a deep level, and they're able to make like some major shifts happen pretty quick. So I'm really impressed with some people and the results that they get, and I'll follow up with them later, and they're like, oh yeah, after working with you for just 20 minutes on the hot seat or whatever it might be, we got like 30% increase in business, or we're fully enrolled now with a waiting list. But there is a definite correlation between staff and your enrollments. So I don't really look at those two pieces separately. I look at them, how they work together, and how do we get both of them on board and excited. So should we get into our winners for this evening?
Yes, absolutely. Winners are fun. I love to send out brownies. So
awesome. And we love that you're sending out brownies for us. So thank you.
You're welcome. So do we want
all right,
brownie winner first tonight?
Should we do that first? Do we need a drum roll?
Absolutely. Always.
Okay. All right. Who's our brownie winner?
Tonight's brownie winner by a hair, by a nose, is Brandon.
Ooh, Brandon.
Congratulations, Brandon. I mean, it was close. It was close.
Yeah. Now, if you all have a chocolate problem like I do, and you're getting a little bit heavy from eating all the brownies that we keep sending you over and over and over again, make sure you tell others about us. And remember, we have in our Childcare Business Success Group a referral contest going on right now, where I think it's over the next week we have left. We extended it out. But for the person, and you have to get at least 5 referrals into our group, but the person who gets the most referrals right now is going to get a ticket or 2 tickets to come to our next event. And we're giving you a $500 travel voucher. So we're going to help you pay for that airfare as well as your lodging. So if you're not yet in the group, get in there and get involved with our referral contest so that you can get tickets and airfare to come to our next public event. So I'm excited about that.
That's a huge deal. That is awesome.
I think so as well. All right. And Tim, I see you in the studio, but you still look frozen to me. Oh. All right. But we'll see. Maybe he'll unfreeze. What do you think makes people freeze? I don't know.
The glorious wonder that is technology.
Well, I did that once. I was a guest on a podcast not too long ago, and I was so excited to be on it. And then I totally froze and I couldn't get back on anyway. So it does happen. Absolutely. All right, so the next prize that we're giving out is our marketing video, and this is for our most engaged group member. From the past week, you get a marketing video, and all you have to do is prepare like a PowerPoint presentation, and we will put that into a video format for you that will be engaging for your staff or for your parents. So it's a really cool thing that we're doing. Hey, Olivia, I see your little forehead in there. Olivia, you can help us do a drum roll?
Yes, she's been helping with the drum roll.
Okay, so ready? Let's do the drum roll. Ready? Here we go. I like that. I like that. A little vocalization of our drum roll.
Of course. Our winner of the video prize is Angela Price Tarrant. So thank you for your interaction this week. That's awesome. That means you've been engaged and involved all week long.
Awesome. So that's Angela.
Mm-hmm.
Angela, what was the name again?
Angela Price Tarrant.
Okay, I've seen Angela's name several times in the group. So Angela Price Tarrant. All right, congratulations.
Yay.
All right, Loretta, well, thank you so much for announcing our prize winners. I know that you've got some story time of your own to get to, but thank you for being here. And I know that you will see everybody in the group. And remember, if you're having a bad day, if you need a little bit of sunshine, if you need a compliment, if you need a strategy, yep. Loretta is in our group cheering everybody on. And we look forward to, also when we launch our membership site, Loretta is going to be in there as one of our experts. Loretta, are you pointing at yourself or is that Olivia pointing at you?
I did like once, but then now she's just there.
Good to have a little mini me, right?
Isn't it though?
Absolutely. All right, Loretta, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next week.
All right, I'll be there.
Sounds good. All right, I'm going to put Loretta back down. Bye. Bye, Olivia. Thanks for being here. Thanks for helping your mom. So tonight's topic has been all about staff motivation. And Tim, are you back? Oh, let me see. Oh, I think I see movement. Okay. So we're going to go on for a few minutes longer. We did our prize winners before the hour was up. And let's get Tim back on to talk for a good another 5 minutes about staff motivation. And we'll go from there. All right, Tim.
Julie,
Yay.
Hi. I'm sorry. I actually have a new internet company coming out Wednesday because obviously ours is not that good. So I apologize.
That's okay. We're thrilled that you're here, and I've done that myself where I was a guest on a podcast or something. I was telling everybody and, it just boots you off and you're just like, okay, you can't get back in, but you keep trying. So thank you for being here and thanks for trying. Yeah. So let's talk about, and I know I've got my top strategies, but let's talk about maybe the 3 top things that you feel that you do to cultivate a positive workplace culture. So, I know that part of it is attracting the right people. That's been a huge thing. But what would you say? So if you were out there speaking on your platform, what would you tell people are the top 3 things you've got to do to really rock your culture?
I read a great quote, and I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't have it memorized, but it was basically saying that it takes more than just having the right people and having having everybody there who is great. It actually takes a lot of community interaction from the leadership as well as the staff and everybody kind of working together to help the organization grow. And so the best way that, I guess the top 3 things that I would say is not only having that vision in place and living through the vision, but ensuring that everybody understands it. I like to share it in every staff meeting that I can. I like to be able to give as many opportunities for my team to know me. And you had said feel, was a big key word. And so I try to give them that opportunity to express themselves as well as, understand me so that connection can be a lot better so that when I do have to ask them those hard things, it's a lot easier to get a yes and they're a lot less disgruntled about it. So, there's that give and take. But I think the biggest reason is creating the meaning in the work that we do. Now, obviously, working with kids, there is a lot of meaning, but oftentimes, I think, like any industry, but teachers can feel like a unit of production, that their job is to just work with the kids in the day and keep them all alive instead of having an impact and meaning behind what it is that they do. And so I strive in everything that I do to be able to provide that meaning for them, whether it be personal or professional for them. That if that means they get to cut out an hour early to go on a date with their spouse or something like that, there's meaning in their life, and that meaning transfers into the classroom. And then growth. Growth is one that we've really been focusing on since March. And obviously, advancement isn't always possible, but that doesn't necessarily matter. That for them, it's learning new ways to work with the kids, or learning more about the business. And like, I have one of my teachers who's just fascinated with Eckers and Itters, and so we've sent them to classes, and she came back and helped everybody reorganize their room, and she just was glowing about it too. So I think for me, the top three things are sharing your vision, providing meaning, and just connecting with your team in a very appropriate and meaningful way, deeper way than just knowing about their lives, but their stories and what drives them and their passions, as well as some of their concerns. And so I don't know if that made sense as much, but I would say those are the top three things that we've focused on.
Absolutely. And as you know, from being in our campus, the vision is a huge, huge piece of what we teach, as well as that what staff motivation is. And I really think about staff motivation as progressive growth. And that's what, everybody's looking for, is to grow. And it may not always be in skill set or in position, but it's in mindset. Mindset is huge. People want to be expanding their minds, whether they tell you they do or don't. They do. They want to be growing their minds. And if we could keep their minds engaged, that is like 75% of the battle when it comes to staff motivation, of having an engaged team. Because, on average, they say 62% of all employees are actively disengaged. So if we're not engaging them with the vision, they're engaging their minds in something else that probably has nothing to do with your workplace. And I really believe that people leave when they feel like they're not making a difference, and the stress becomes more than the impact that they feel that they're making. So if they don't feel they're making any impact, and then the environment is so crazy stressful, that's going to leave you having a really demotivated team member looking for just any other opportunity to escape what they're currently feeling at their current place of employment.
Absolutely. And one of the things that comes to my mind with what you just said is I want my team to know that I have their best interest in their back, so to speak. And over the weekend in the conference that I was in, that was kind of the common theme, is that a lot of the staff don't feel like their leadership actually care about them, where I have no problem allowing a family to find a care more suited for them if they're not going to respect my staff, or if their child isn't going to respect the staff. Now, obviously, we have our procedures in place, but I will stick up for them and to be able to do that. And so that allows that space for them to try new things, and kind of that autonomy to be able to work based on within my boundaries, but on their own direction, I guess. And so, yeah, absolutely, what you said is fantastic.
Yeah, and I love the word that you're bringing up, boundaries. And a lot of our owners, we let our boundaries down. So make sure, and I don't know, Tim, if you had to go through a redefining process of professional boundaries that you had in place, because it's really easy in this industry, as it is in any heartfelt industry, to let your boundaries down, because you're there, you're an advocate for people, and you see the potential and you see the possibilities in people. So was there a redefining moment for you with your own boundaries, Tim? Or you had to get back in touch with what they were and get firmly rooted in these are the boundaries that you have in place, so that you don't experience burnout and frustration and stress, and can really lead your team to accomplish great things?
Absolutely. And I let those boundaries, unfortunately, slide to the point where about this time last year, we started to see a massive loss of our staff, and the complaints that they were giving me and the reasons for it were simply because I wasn't holding true to my boundaries. And so when I came back, I had to, came back from the conference in March, I did have to sit down and say, like, this is what I'm willing to accept and this isn't. And it was hard because oftentimes, I'm a people person. I love to sit and talk. And there were times where I had to cut a conversation that I would have loved to have short simply because it was allowing more, it was going beyond those boundaries, and it allowed more flexibility than it should have, or it divulged more information than I wanted to share. And so, for me, I had to rein it in quite a bit. But I think by doing that, I've actually gained more respect from my staff because they know that I'm not going to go do something with one team member when I wouldn't do it with the other, or vice versa. I'm going to, say no to one when I'll say yes to the other. So having those boundaries has been really good. And honestly, by saying no a lot more, it's helped to identify those boundaries. And so my staff no longer come to me with what seems like a small problem. They come to me with what was a small problem and the solution that they gave. And then simply it was just either I give guidance or I say, hey, high five, you did a great job. And but it was hard. It was really hard.
And I know one of the shifts that many leaders make too is really setting boundaries for how much of your own stress as an entrepreneur, as a leader, that you share and pass along to team members. So it's really easy to say, we're in this, we're a family, and then you start talking about all the stress that you're feeling or the fear that you're feeling because there's not enough enrollments, there's not enough money, and that gets trickled onto your staff. And then everybody's feeling this negative mindset. So that's one boundary. And I think, Tim, you've made some shifts here as well that I'll be happy to have you address. But you've really got to be looking at what are the boundaries too, in terms of what you're communicating and what you're letting flow onto your people. Because people are going to stay with you if you give them the impression of increase, meaning their life is going to be better because they are in your energetic zone. That's why you're going to attract clients. That's why you're going to attract staff. But if we make them feel like, your life's going to be really stressful, really chaotic, really crazy because you're here in my energetic presence, it's not going to be a good formula for retention or for attracting the right people.
Right. And
anything you want to add to that, Tim?
Yes, my shift had to be on what the priority was based on the bigger vision versus the priority at the time. And one of the things in my organization that I've had for a long time is I don't tolerate gossip. However, about a year ago, I found that I was kind of one of the biggest contributors to it, where I didn't necessarily run around and gossip, but it was always like, I got to deal with this person, or, oh, great, this situation happening again, or, of course, Miss Sally called in sick again. And I realized much later how much of a detriment to my team that was. And so now we share problems, but we share problems with, hey, what solution can we have that is focusing on the bigger picture? So, and by doing that, that does create buy-in for my staff, but that gives me a different perspective. And oftentimes I look at it like, I didn't even think of that. So my team supports me now versus complains with me. So
awesome. Great. And that's really important. Is there anything else in closing that you would like to add before we wrap up this episode of the Childcare Business Success Show?
Join, keep following you, and even join us as owners. And I don't say that because we're on this or on this together or out of flattery. It has literally changed me from back at the beginning of the year, I was ready to either sell or walk away, to now I am more excited and motivated than ever, simply because of the shifts I made. It's allowed my team the freedom. It's allowed them the opportunity to grow, and it's allowed me the freedom to step out and working, 12-hour days to, I think I was there for 4.5 today, just kind of tying up loose ends. So I don't say that because we're here together. I say that because it literally is transformational in many ways. So I would say in closing, do that. Find some.
Oh, and now he froze. He's going to make the most important point of the evening. So, Tim, if you're still on, go ahead and refresh, and if I see you, we'll have you back on to wrap up. I'm going to go ahead and put you back down. Okay. Yeah, so Tim joined our mentorship, and like he said, it's been totally transformational for him. So I encourage you that if you are struggling in your childcare program, if you feel like you've lost your passion, lost your enthusiasm, many owners do, many directors do, shoot Jana a message or leave a comment here that you want to get on the line and chat with us, because we can help you bring that back. And what we'll do is get on the phone with you for free 20-minute consultation and just talk to you about what you're currently going through and see how we can energetically shift that for you so that your business becomes something, your childcare program becomes something that you are on fire and excited about again. And if I don't see Tim unfreeze shortly, we'll have him back at a future date. But Tim, thank you so much for being here. And let's go and see if there's any comments. If anybody has anything that they would like to add, please go ahead and shoot it through in the comments, and then we'll be wrapping up shortly. So Tim, are you back on? Can you wave? Oops. Nope. I think you're frozen again. Okay. So we'll have Tim back on. Oh, it's lovely when your sister tunes in. Thanks, Sally, for being here. All right, Mindy. I think we should have brownies at the next conference. All right, Mindy, you come to the next conference and we will make sure we've got some brownies. Should we have these brownies or should we have any brownies? So we'll see. All right, and Brandon sends out a congratulations to Angela on her video win. Awesome. Lots of congratulations coming through for Angela. And then let me just see if there's any other comments. And Jana posted the link here for our closed Facebook group so that everybody who's watching can come and be a part of our community. And this is just a free group. So it's an entry-level point for you to come and start your transformational journey with us. All right. And let's see if we've got anything else here. Okay. I think we're doing good. Just lots of congratulations, lots of oh yes. Okay. All right. So what do I have coming up? If you want to take your journey a step further with me, make sure you get in with our group, because I'm going to be announcing our free webinar series that's going to be coming up. And one of the ones that I'm committed to doing is 5 simple steps to help you manage, motivate, and retain great staff. And I've done this for probably about 17 years, but I want to provide you with some new up-to-date content on these 5 simple steps and really get your transformational journey started. And if you're sitting there going, well, what are the transformational steps? It's going to be a webinar that you're going to need to be on. And this time, the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to come to you live via video, just like this, sharing with you those 5 simple steps. And I guarantee if you implement these things, you're going to get some transformational results happening. All right. So Jana says, congratulations. Oh, here's Angela. Congratulations, Angela. I'm so excited that I was late to the party tonight. All right. Congratulations on your win. And Mindy says, yep, deal, these brownies. All right, Mindy, we need you there. Okay. All right, Tim, thank you for being here. I don't see you being unfrozen, but we will have you back on a future show, and I can't wait. You've got a wealth of information to add, and I'm delighted that you were here with us. All right, just going to hide that. All right. So I'm going to wrap up this episode of the Childcare Business Success Show. Please make sure you come and join our free Facebook community. Jana has posted the link for you in the comments section, and I would love to have you in the group. It's 3 simple questions, and then it's a free group for you to get into and start your journey. We have, I don't know what it is, over 1,100 international childcare owners and directors who are in the group. And then we've got like another 400 who are waiting that we haven't yet approved to get into the group. So we are selective with who we let in. There are just 3 questions to answer, and that's it. Then you're in. We welcome you, and you get to partake in all the exclusive content that we have for you there. All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here this evening. It's been a pleasure. I'm Julie Bartkus, workplace transformationalist and best-selling author of Childcare Business Success, as well as Childcare Business Success coach and mentor, and internationally known speaker. And I can't wait to help you create your positive, productive, and profitable childcare program. I'll see y'all very soon. And leave your comments, whether you're tuning in live or to the replay, and I'll be sure to answer and respond. All right. Have a fantastic evening. See you soon. Bye, everyone.